Hey dudes!
Morning!
Welcome back to a new video.
In this video we will share our experience on how we bought our house and how auction site works. This has been long overdue, but we're finally here sitting down and talking about this.
Yeah, we have a beautiful day outside, everything's flowering, the sun is here, so it's a great day to be here on our property. So we're gonna talk from our own experience how all these things happen.
Just before we start the video, I wanted to let you know that we have new video up on Patreon as well, if you want to check us out even more. So we upload there. If you find our content interesting or you want to support us, head to Patreon, but of course finish with this video first.
We did receive a lot of questions about how the auction site works, how did we get our house, where did we get it?
What the auction site is at all, where can you find it?
Yeah, so this is the actual big video, so there's a lot to uncover. So let's start bit by bit. We're gonna divide it in three little sections. So first of all, how the auction site works. Then we're gonna talk about our own experience because we actually did it. And the third one will be what to look out for.
Exactly. So since there's a lot into it, let's just start with how the auction site works. I guess it's worth knowing, as far as I know, there's only one site in Latvia where you can buy properties like that. It's government owned, so it's all legit. It's not like you find it on some weird place where people try to get rid of their properties. No, it's actually maintained and regulated, so it's as safe as it gets from that sense. The link will be down below, I guess, or
and
even on
here,
the screen.
Yeah, so this is where you go in Latvia. Obviously, I think there's going to be this kind of auction sites work in pretty much every country, but this is just for Latvia, so the properties are only in Latvia. But yeah, most probably there will be some differences, but this is the main idea how they work.
Yeah. So on the site, they work only on working days, so from Monday to Friday. They add listings from, as far as I've seen, from 10 to 20 listings each day. Obviously not everything is a countryside house. Most of them would be either an apartment or just a piece of land. This is also a great place where the government is trying to sell the properties that are not in use. So for whatever reason, if they come under the ownership of the government, they can auction those plots out.
Yeah, I think for the very start, I think the two main things that you should decide is, well, three. What do you want to buy? Is it an apartment, a house, just properties, land, or cars and electronics, whatever they sell? There's tons of different things. So what do you want to buy? The second is location, how far you're willing to go through the borders of Latvia. And third one, how much money you're willing to spend. And from that you can narrow down your searches. That's exactly what we did. We knew that we want a countryside house, not a property, because we wouldn't be able to start building.
Yeah.
We knew exact budget that we're willing to spend on it. And we decided how far we're willing to go.
Obviously, this stretches a little bit, because if the property was further away, we would probably still consider, because we were really committed to buy a property here in Latvia. So for us, obviously, as close as possible to the country center, which is Riga. But if you're looking for a countryside property in our budget, it's quite unrealistic to find it. So it would be couple 100 kilometers away.
Exactly, yeah, that's why you have to decide. For us, we decided that the distance isn't the biggest issue. I mean, maybe to the furthest eastern borders would be really far away. And
not to Latgale, we didn't search necessarily.
Yeah, so we decided that's not what we're gonna look for. Although, also you have to check your budget, how much you're willing to spend. So maybe further away is the right property. So yeah, the things to consider in the beginning.
In Latvia we have this SS site. Obviously if you're buying from there, it's already owned by someone, so it's like a private seller. They will sell you the property and you will be done with it. But this video is not about that. This video is about how the auctions actually work. So you need to take into consideration that it will be a longer process. It might take from 3 to 6 months, depending on, obviously, the time ranges from when do you actually find the property you're wanting to bid on, and then until the end of the process. So if you're finding, let's just assume you found the property that you want to bid on, the first step is to register through the site, be eligible. So that means you need to be authorized by the site. So it's whether with your bank account, or there's multiple options you can do. But first of all, you need a login, so you can actually see the properties and you can be verified as a person. Once you have the property, you need to press that you're bidding on it, and then it will take a deposit. It's normally 10% of the price of the listing price. So if the house or apartment is like 5,000, you will pay 500 as a deposit, so it's a security. So that will keep, if you win the property, it will go into your property's price, so you will pay 4,500, if that makes sense. But it will stay locked in until the auction ends. Also, what is important to know, that auction usually takes 30 days. Since the listing is published, you need to submit that you want to bid for the property within like 2 weeks, because then there's a cutoff date, and once you are past the cutoff date, you can't apply to that specific auction anymore. So you're basically missing the chance if you don't submit your deposit and all the, I guess, bidding rights.
Yeah, and so those are the first 2 weeks when people are applying to be able to bid. And then the second 2 weeks is when the people who applied bid in between each other. So you can't just randomly jump in on a property that will end tomorrow.
On the last minute and just wait for 10 seconds and then just get the property. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, so whoever registered, whoever put that 10% deposit, they're allowed to bid. And then you can see who's gonna bid the most. One little thing that's weird, for example, if the house is let's say the bidding starts at 10,000, which I thought it would work similar as eBay, but it doesn't. And the first bid would be then, let's say 500 euros. If you're the first bidder, it's gonna be 10,500. It's not.
So you're not gonna get it for 10,000.
Yeah, because I thought that's how it's gonna work.
That would be the first bid, right? Those 10,000, but it's not, because it's already that added bidding sum.
For some reason. But yeah, that's a little note. So with every single listing, when it comes to properties, there is like, let's say, a review done by a professional. Which is neutral, so they have no interest in making the place seem better or worse to change the price, and it lists everything that the reviewer can find out about the house or an apartment when they go there. It will say how much land you have, how many buildings on the property, what kind of buildings, how big they are, what's the condition of everything, is there water, is there like anything, electricity, all these little things. And then it also adds all the possible liabilities of the place, as they can find out, because there'll probably be more. Most of the time they'll even add a lot of pictures that they took about the place.
In most cases you wouldn't even be able to see the house, because they are owned by private person that's been, the property is taken off them because of debts or whatever reason, usually because they couldn't pay back money to the bank that they owned. So usually it's auctioned by a bank so that they could get the money back. But the legal side of this is that you can't go inside the house. So even the reviewer, he doesn't have any rights to go in the house. So in most cases, unless the owner wants to contribute, which usually doesn't happen, you won't be able to see the house inside and the buildings inside or whatever. So that's where the tricky part is. And that's when you say about the house review comes really handy, because you can see from the legal stuff that comes with the house, what is the planning rights, what is the space inside, how many rooms the house has, what's the kitchen, if there's any bathrooms at all, does it have electricity, water supply, all this will be listed on the review.
Yeah, and then there will be listings that are not by private owners. They're not getting kicked out by debt, but it's going to be done by government. That government owns a lot of properties around the country, and they just want to sell them off to people, so people start living in these abandoned places. And we visited a couple of them when we started checking out, so that's a great thing, because if it's listed by the government, you can speak to the localities and ask them if you can visit the places, and that's also what we did. And if that's the possibility, definitely go and try it, because they'll sometimes even show you the place around the inside and tell you about the neighborhood, and like they're really helpful because they want people to start living in their smaller neighborhoods.
And they want to get rid of these properties because in most cases it's old government buildings like post offices or sometimes schools, and sometimes companies, whatever they have occurred throughout the time, and they are no longer in use. So when we had the video about buying a house in Latvia, we visited a couple of them. One was school and one was a factory kind of building, and those were government owned. And we were able to go see them because usually they have assigned a person who will take your calls and will be able to show you around and maybe to help you out with this.
Yeah, and they'll most of the time they'll even have the pictures of inside, because they really are interested to sell these places. The prices are quite often really good.
Yeah, price is incredible cheap.
Yeah, so if you have that kind of option, definitely go, because we saw two places, as I said, and the thing was that in the pictures they looked really nice. The price was amazing. Nothing was really wrong by the review. Yeah, by the looks, it was great. Once we decided to visit those places, we realized that it's totally not what we want.
And if you go back to the site, it's like you have found the property and you have submitted your application for the auction. Then you submit your first bid and wait until someone else bids over your bid. And if it doesn't happen, then you just need to wait until the auction ends, because once you put the bid on doesn't mean the auction ends. It has that 30 days period, and so you have to wait until the last day, see if anyone else is bidding, and if it's not, then after those 30 days the property is technically yours. You bid it. So if you want the property, in 24 hours they will send you an email, congratulations, you won this property, and then the court person who is dealing with the auction will contact you by saying that you won the auction and now the legal parts, and they will send you the list of things you need to pay off, of course your bidding price, plus the government fees, whatever for the all the legal documentation you will need. They will send the whole package, so you'll see the end sum and you will need to pay it off. So once you receive it, you need to pay this amount in one full payment, so you can't split it. So if you don't have those 10,000 that you just bid, sucks on you. You'll need to kind of figure, because the other option is you can go with the bank. We don't know how that really works because we didn't do it. But there is a possibility that if you get a bank note or a letter that they are supporting your loan, then it's fine. You can take a mortgage on your new property. But we didn't do it, so we're not covering that part. So you pay it off and then the waiting time starts. You would think that that's it, that's your property now, but actually it goes like, once you pay all the full sum, it takes a month, and in the month, after that 1 month's time from your payment, they assign you a court date, and in the court they announce that you won the auction. So you have to wait just for 1 month just for that to come in force, I guess.
Yeah, that part is quite weird, because you paid off some money, let's say those 10,000 or whatever, and you're just sitting there waiting until the court will send you a legal letter saying like, okay, yeah, the court date is gonna happen on that date. You don't need to go to court, it's just they're dealing it on their own way. They just announce little things, what's happening every once in a while. So there's a lot of waiting periods in between. Then that first month ends, you receive that, yeah, this is happening, it's yours now. But then if it's owned by another person before you, then they have rights to, let's say, for 14 days to go to court and say no. Object, yeah. But depends what kind of people you're dealing with. We didn't have that situation. We just kept waiting. And then after the 30 days, I think there was another 30 days.
There was definitely, because once the court does its ruling, it's still not enforced on the same day, which is weird. So you need to follow through and wait once the ruling is enforced. So for us it took, I think, another, well, the thing is, it takes another 10 days because the other person can object you. So if that doesn't happen, then in about 2 weeks from that 10 days, so again another month, it comes in force. So then the house legally is yours. So after that you will be finally able to receive the documentation for the house that it's on your name. In Latvia, for us, it happens online. So if you're registered as a Latvian citizen, you can just go into the site and see what's under your name, and then that one day it came under our name, that house, so it was ours. We were happy about it. But then the problem again is that you need to get the previous owner out. Here there's a little bit tricky thing, because you can force them out because it's your property, but if they don't want to leave on their own, then it will take way longer, because so far you already spent 3 months. You spent that 1 month from bidding to your winning bid, and then another month till the court, and then another month for the court to actually come
come in place, in force, until everything actually, which is weird because they will say, okay, the court ruled that this is now your property, you own this, but it's not actually in force. So you're gonna have to wait until it actually shows online, which was really weird for us, because
didn't expect that. There's not that much information, to be honest, out about this, so we're hoping if anyone is dealing with this thing might be helpful, because if we had anyone to watch and maybe wouldn't be so stressed about these little things, because there was just lack of communication.
Yeah, because we at some point we emailed our court lady who was dealing with this, and she was like, yeah, well, technically it's yours, but it's not in force right now. And we were like, okay, when is it gonna be? Like, what's our timeline? She's like, anytime soon now.
Any day now.
Yeah,
because
like,
they don't have exact day.
They don't know, and it's like until it finally at some point magically appears online and says, okay, yeah,
it's approved or
yeah.
something.
So yeah, then you're technically, as you said, legally allowed to kick the people out, but if they don't want to, then you have to go through court, and I guess you have to involve police.
And you need eviction notice, because you can't just go and kick them out physically. It doesn't work like that. You have no rights. As long as they have their personal belongings in the house, you have no rights to take anything or lock them out, because it's technically theirs. So you're basically committing a crime.
Yeah.
It could be shitty for you. So like, you have no rights to do that, and you need to go through court and get the ruling for them to move out.
Yes, so I was saying we grabbed a little juice because we're having an amazing day today. Yes, so one thing our judge advised us is just to come to that place, your new property, and try to speak to the previous owners nicely, and ask, like, what's the situation? Are they willing to move out? Maybe they need a bit more time. Maybe you can help them move out, because that way it can become a lot cheaper and faster. So you don't have to go through courts and involve police, and no one wants to spend extra money on anything. So plus the process might take longer.
And the time.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we did. We decided that we're just gonna come here and see what's the situation. We were scared shitless.
Of cool.
Because we didn't know what the previous owners looked like. You don't know what you're dealing with. It can be like...
It's a lot scarier when you're two young people trying to get a house and there's no one to ask because no one has the experience like us.
Yeah, and you're going to the middle of nowhere and saying, hey, people who have lived here like for a long time, can you get the fuck out of my new house? You know, it's a really tricky situation.
Yes.
So yeah, we just decided, okay, let's just try it, see what happened. Maybe we get lucky, maybe we'll get in trouble.
At least we get to see the house.
Yeah.
I guess it's worth knowing. Until that point, we actually never came here. We never saw the house, so that's why I said at least it's worth seeing the house because we've never been here.
Yeah, we bought what people call the cat in a bag.
Uh-huh.
We didn't see the inside. There was no photos of inside, only from the outside in the review document. So yeah, we just paid some money for a random property we've never seen. And hoped for the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we were like, okay, let's try to go to this weird place we've never been to and see what we bought. So we came here, we saw our house from the pictures. We were like, I guess this is the right place.
We arrived.
Yeah, there was no one around, not like no people walking. We were like, okay, let's just knock on the door. I knocked several times, no one opened. We were like, okay, there's no people, but we came like, I don't know, quite a long road here. Let's walk around, see. Then we walked next to the windows of the house to see what's like, maybe
What's up?
Are people at home at least, maybe they're at work. And then we saw that the house was empty.
Yeah, it was all taken out, all the furniture, everything. So it was like, clearly was a sign that no one is living here, which was a great sign for us, which means that people who were here before were accepting the situation and us, we were getting the house. And then you can see how, in what state the house was in our first video, where we bought a house for under 9,000. We'll link here. So you can have a look how we arrived and saw the house. I guess one tip what I can give you from my own experience and going through this, if you are from Latvia, get e-signature beforehand and make all your communications online, because I didn't have that. I had it on my mother's house because that's where I was registered. So they did send me like
Actual post.
physical, yes, but there is the thing that you can get all your post via your Latvian legal email. So get that beforehand so you can get all the communication faster. But that's from the good side, I guess. We wanted to also point out some things maybe you would want to watch out because the auction site is limited. So it's a couple of things that we learned along the way by checking the site at least for 1 year's periods. There are some things you wanna watch out. So like you say, first of all, read the review, what you have with the property. Make sure you know what you're buying, because sometimes they only sell parts of the property, let's say 1/3 of the house or 1/2 of the house. So it's gonna mean you will have a neighbor right next door. So check that out.
It might not even mean that there's a neighbor. It might just mean that someone else who doesn't care about the house owns part of your house, and then it's not completely yours, and then at some point they want to decide to sell that place, their part, to someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the review is like, it can go up to like, I don't know, 14 pages with the pictures involved and everything.
But it's worth it before you put your money in.
Yeah, so in the beginning it looks kind of tedious and you don't want to go through those reviews. But once you kind of get used to them, they seem like you know exactly where to look at, the right places. But definitely read every single part, especially the liabilities part, because some places might just say, I don't know, there's noise or traffic, or there's a electric wire going through your land, but you'll never notice it. It's just like, it's not beautiful. But at some point there's like really bad liabilities that you don't want to get involved with. So
we saw some funny ones actually. If I want to give one example, was recently I was just checking the site, and near Riga they were selling apartment for 10,000, which is incredible because in Riga apartments start from 40 to 50,000, which is the average price. So 10,000 would be crazy, but it came with this liability, right? there's whatever the contract that it was a gifted apartment apparently to her, but it was gifted on a term that the house can only be sold or owned by another person once the old lady that lives in that apartment dies. So it came in the package, so you could read that thing, and it said she's about 80 years old, and then they said on average these old ladies live till 86 to 90 years. It was in the review. And so you would just like sit around and wait for those 6 years, because there's no real legal way to get them out. I was actually interested in this story, so I went and checked how, like, do people deal with this thing, and yeah, it's a normal thing. You can just write whatever you want on your property, and if you want the old lady or your mom or whoever live in there until they die, you can write that in your house papers, and they will stay to your house. And there's pretty much no legal way to get out of it.
So you get an apartment, really nice one, but with a person living in it, and you can't kick them out. You just have a roommate forever until they pass.
She dies, because it's literally said in the legal documentation that she will live there until she dies, and I guess it's normal here in Latvia to just have that. Obviously, I don't think you'll get it in every property. It's just something to look out, because we saw it. But another thing is, what you want to look out is rental agreements. Those are a little bit easier to deal with, but still pain in the ass if you have to, because you will need to go through the court again, and then you'll need decent enough reason to put those people out. And sometimes the rent agreements are ridiculous, because they've been made like years ago, and the rental price can be 50 euros a month, and they can pay you 50 euros a month till they die. And of course it's not enough for you to like gain any benefit from the property, and it's also really annoying because you can't get rid of them. So be aware of these things, because they might be more complicated than you wish they were.
One thing to look out for, that's just about the site specifically, that you have to read the terms and conditions to know that part. So basically, let's imagine you find a nice listing, you decide to put that you're gonna sign up, but you're not sure that you're gonna bid, but you pay that, let's say for the 10,000 you pay that 10% the signing up fee, which technically would go into your house payment once you bid on it and win. But if you just sign up, pay that 1,000, decide not to bid because you find something you don't like,
or just find something else maybe.
Yeah,
instead.
But you already put that 1,000, and so you're not bidding, and no one else is bidding, and the auction ends with 0 bidders, but you're the one who signed up. You lose the 1,000, which is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just keep it. I think
it goes to debt repayment.
Yeah.
So sucks to be you if you didn't know this thing and you just thought, oh, I'll get it back once the auction ends.
Yeah.
It won't.
I'm changing my mind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign up for this other one and see which ones I'm gonna get. And if someone else overbids you, then yeah, you'll get
you get it back.
But if no one bids and they close with 0 bids, you lose the money, which is weird. But good to know.
Definitely good to know.
Yeah, so that you don't start signing up on several places.
I guess we took you through the process from as much as we know, and hopefully it was helpful if you're looking to buy a house on the auction here in Latvia.
Whatever we didn't cover in the video, but there's maybe something else we know and you might have more questions on, let us know. I'll try to answer if I do know the answers. So yeah, we really do hope this was a useful video, because if we would have seen this one, we would be very happy.
More calm for sure, because it's really intimidating to go through stuff and not knowing what to expect.
If you are interested in buying your new property, you can leave a like. If you want to follow our journey here in our countryside, you could subscribe, that would be great. Just remember, there's a new video on Patreon if you don't have enough. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.